Hello everyone, welcome to the session on income tax exemptions and reducing your education loan rate of interest with that. I am really sorry for the delay. There were some technical issues at my end because of which I couldn't start on time. So I apologize for that, and let me begin the session. But before that, two things which I would like to suggest you. One is if you have any questions during the session, either on my slides or whether it's on your individual evaluation of any parameter or anything regarding education loan which you would want to ask me, you can post it below the video. There is a chat box if you're watching it from mobile, and if you're watching it from desktop, it is going to be on the side of your video. Yeah, so make sure keep asking questions, because after my slides, which I'm just going to take about 20-25 minutes on explaining you the concept and how does that work, after that I'll go on to taking questions. Yeah, the second thing is please subscribe to our channel if you don't want to miss any such videos in future, because we keep doing this once in a week or twice in a week, such sessions, everything related to education loans or scholarships. So in general, helping students who are going to study abroad and giving them information on finance. Yeah, so that's what it is. The sessions are usually about. So let me start the session. I'll share my screen so that you all can see my slides, and then we'll. Yeah. So I hope all of you can see my slides. So let me just full screen it. Okay, so our today's session is on reducing your education loan interest rate to 6.33% using income tax exemptions. So now, obviously, 6.33 sounds a very lucrative number, and people are not usually not aware that they can even take exemption, or their interest rate can actually be reduced to this much. So let me go ahead and explain you how this works. So now before the first half of my slide, so today my slides are going to be very wordy anyways. So first of my slides will be on Indian income tax exemption section 80. And within that 80 section, there is a specific section called 80E, which is which explains how the education loan exemptions can be claimed. So other 80GGs for home loans, 80EE for also for home loans. So there are like different kind of 80Cs for life insurance. So we are today going to only talk about 80E, which is on income tax exemptions for education loan. Yeah. So now, as I mentioned, my slides are going to be wordy today because I have taken the actual content from incometax.gov.in website and explaining you in layman term what exactly that means, because I understand that these terms on government website may not be very clear to you. Yeah, so let me start with that. So let me just first read out what exactly it says. So section 80E, deduction in respect of interest on loan taken for higher education. Yeah, in computing the total income of an assessee, being an individual, that there shall be deducted in accordance with and subjected to the provisions of this section. Any amount paid by him in the previous year out of his income chargeable to tax by way of interest on loan taken by him from any financial institute or any approved charitable institution for the purpose of pursuing this higher education. Yeah. So now I know for a layman it's very difficult to understand, or maybe you'll have to go through it like a couple of times to get the exact meaning out of this complex, let's say, note of words. So let me just explain it in layman terms. So this whole paragraph explains these two things, which I have written now below this. So one thing is deduction on the interest component. Yeah. So the interest component of your loan. So the first line says in respect of interest on loan. Yeah. So you have to remember that deduction is only on the interest component of your loan. Yeah. So deduction on the interest component of education loan with respect to your total income. Now, what does with respect to total income means? Because everyone's income varies. So in my further slides, I'll tell you like as per, let's say, budget 18-19, what are the slabs for the tax as per income. So let's say if you're in 20% tax bracket, then the exemption also will be 20%. If you're in 10% income tax bracket, then the exemption also will be 10%. So that's why they say is deduction on interest component of education loan with respect to your total income. Why total income? Because your total income decides how much tax you pay. Yeah. The second point is loan can be from any financial institute or any approved charitable institution. So you have to, these are the two points which I get the most important from this paragraph. One is, okay, first point I already explained. The second one is that loan, education loan for which you can claim this exemption can be from any financial institution or any approved charitable institution. Yeah. So this second point is very important because we get on regular basis so many questions from people asking, oh, is this institute approved, is that institute approved, is this institute not approved? So one thing you have to remember is any financial institute or any approved charitable institution are eligible, like the loan from them are eligible for the exemptions. Yeah. So I know it might be, complex at some point. So please put your questions, even if it is like as short, like something just you didn't understand a word or something, just go ahead and put that in the questions. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, the subject of this slide is wrong. Okay, so this is further explaining the section. The deductions specified in subsection shall be allowed in computing the total income in respect of the initial assessment year and 7 assessment years immediately succeeding the initial assessment year, or until the interest referred to in subsection is paid by the assessee in full, whichever is earlier. Okay, now this is something very important for you to know, that summary of this is that you can only claim these exemptions for maximum period of 8 years. Okay, or if you clear off your interest like loan earlier. So let's say you took a loan for 8 years, like 10 years, and you paid it back in 3 years. So then your exemption is not going to continue for 8 years. Yeah, your exemption is going to be ending in 3 years because the loan is completely repaid. Yeah, I hope it is clear. And another thing which it says is, sorry, the another thing which it highlights is, so see, okay, let me give you an example. Please listen to this carefully. So let's say if you start repaying your loan, so your let's say repayment starts. This is 2018 right now. You take a loan right now. Let's say in August, and in 2020, your course gets over. 2020, let's say June or July, and you get 6 months after your course is over. Yeah, 2.5 years. So let's say 2021 starting January is the time when you start repaying your loan. Yeah. So from then onwards, okay, you can only claim the exemptions from then onwards, but also on the tax which is accumulated. Also on the interest which is accumulated while this 2.5 years. Yeah. So you start paying your every month EMI from let's say this period of let's say what 2021. Yeah. So then from for up to 8 years, okay, so let's say up to 2029, when you're repaying your loan, you can claim these exemptions on the interest component which you are paying every month. Yeah. So I'll show you a screenshot also of that how the interest component is, you can see that. Okay, so I'll come to that, so don't worry on that. But just you have to remember, this thing is it's up to 8 years and without any gap, which means if you start repaying in 2021 your EMIs, you cannot tell, okay, 2023 I am not going to pay any of my EMI. Let's say you get some provision, you get into some kind of provision with the bank and tell them, okay, give me a gap year for my EMIs or something of that sort, and then you tell, okay, I won't claim this year. So eventually my capability, or let's say this 8 year thing, is extended by 1 more year. That doesn't happen. It should be without any gap. Okay, so 2021, after your repayment holiday is over, once you start repaying, you have to repay, like you have to claim that exemption every year until the loan is ended. Yeah, got the point? Yeah. Okay, so getting the terminology of section 80 right. So now these two slides were actually on the section, what exactly the section on income tax website says. And then income tax website itself has provided a clarification of what it means by the different terms it has used in the section. So one thing is approved charitable institution. What does that mean? Means any institution specified in or as the case may be any institution established for charitable purpose and notified by the central government under clause section 23C of section 10 or an institution referred to in clause A of subsection 2 of section 80G. So these you will have to check, not right now, only if you are going to take a loan from a charitable institution. Yeah. So charitable institutions are like foundations. Some foundations are there which provides loans. So when you take loan from them, you have to go and check this thing, that whether that particular charitable institution is approved by central government under this section, and also it should be mentioned in the section 80G. Yeah. Now this is actually something very rare, because very small percentage of people take loan from charitable institution. It will be barely like, let's say, 0.1% or so. Yeah. So the remaining takes loan from financial institution. Now let me explain the second point even more in detail. So financial institution means a banking company. Okay, it does not say bank. It says a banking company to which the Banking Regulation Act 1949 applies. It includes, in the bracket you can see, any bank or banking institution referred to in section 51 of that act. Section 51 of 1949 Banking Regulation Act. Yeah, if the banking institution where you are taking loan from is mentioned here, mentioned there, then it is approved. Yeah, or any other financial institution. Okay, so the regulation does not end here. Or any other financial institution which the central government may, by notification in the official gazette, specify in this behalf. Yeah. So if the institution is not comes under Banking Regulation Act 1949 Section 51, even without that, if central government by any notification in the official gazette has identified or recognized that financial institute, then that is acceptable. Yeah, I'll give you certain examples also in the further slides. Yeah. Now, third point is very simple: higher education, because they mentioned that this can be only claimed for higher education. So they are just clarifying what exactly higher education means. Higher education means full-time studies for any graduate or postgraduate programs in any of these fields. Yeah, so it almost includes everything. Engineering, medicine, management, or for postgraduate course in applied sciences, pure sciences, including mathematics and statistics. They have specified some subjects, but actually in the recent modification, they have opened it to all the subject areas. So don't worry, even if you're going for, let's say, education in which is not STEM or yeah, it's something out of it, you can still claim the exemption. Yeah. So initial assessment year. Now, in the previous section, it specified this thing, initial assessment year and 7 assessment years immediately succeeding that. So what is initial assessment year? So I think in layman terms, I have already told you, initial assessment year means that when you start repaying the loan. Okay. So it is after your moratorium period, yeah, which is like course duration plus 6 months or 1 year, whatever moratorium period is. So initial assessment year is after that, and it is like, so let's say you pay interest 1 year, and at the end of the financial year, in the next financial year, you claim that, okay, out of your income, you should be deducting this thing. So that's what it has, like it has been written like, means the assessment year relevant to the previous year in which the assessee starts paying the interest on the loan. So if I start paying in 2021, in 2022 financial year, I can start claiming my rebate or exemption. Yeah. Okay. So now I hope this is clear. Let me summarize it once again. So there are three things you learn. One is it's only on the interest component of your education loan. Second, it is with respect to your total income. Yeah. So if you're in the bracket of 10%, then the rebate exemption is also only 10%. If you're in tax bracket of 20%, then the exemption is also 20%. Yeah. So the second point is with respect to your total income. Yeah. The third thing you learned is it is from any financial institution or approved charitable or institution. Yeah. The fourth thing you learned is it is for up to 8 years you can claim it, and this 8 years start after your moratorium period. As in, when you start repaying the loan, that's when this 8 years start, not when your course starts. Okay, remember this difference. So fourth point is maximum allowed duration is 8 years without gap, which means you have to claim the exemptions until the loan is completed, but you cannot put a gap in between. Yeah. So once you start repaying, your exemptions will work only for the succeeding 7 years, not 8. Let's say if you take a in between a gap, it won't be extended by a year or so. Yeah, I hope you got that point. Fourth thing you learned is so this was anyway charitable institution was defined, financial institution was defined. So fifth thing which you learned was that it is for higher education, graduate and postgraduate programs. Yeah, I think the D point is again a duplication of what I already explained in the previous slide. Yeah, I know it's a little tough, but I hope you had been educated. But let me just highlight some further things on that. Now, next thing is how to claim it. Yeah, or who can claim it. Yeah. So how to claim it is so applicant or co-applicant can claim it. Whoever is paying the loan. So that's what was mentioned in the section that assessee the loan paid by the assessee. So it never mentions that okay, it should be for your education or it should be for your kids' education. Yeah. So you have to understand that you or your co-applicant, your parents, can also claim it. So while in the description of this event, there was one more thing which we mentioned is that choosing your co-applicant. Yeah. So I'm going to shed some light on that here. So let's say recently I got a case where student was going to take loan from SBI, yeah, so through VMix Scholars, and his father was going to be the co-applicant. So father's income was about 4.5 or 5 lakhs per annum or something. So then this person in the flow of conversation told her team that my sister can also be my co-applicant, but my sister's income is 17 lakhs per annum. Yeah. So then what my team suggested him is, see, your sister with 17 lakhs income is definitely paying 30% income tax on her income every year. Yeah. So 30% income tax, she'll be at least paying even after like other deductions, medical bills or HRA or things like that, she'll be at least paying 2 lakhs from her income every year towards her income tax. Yeah. So now, if she be your co-applicant, she is in 30% income tax bracket. Yeah. So your exemption on your interest component will also be 30%. Whereas if your father is your co-applicant, because his income is less than 5 lakhs, yeah, he will be in 10% or 5% income tax bracket. Yeah. So then the exemption you will be getting will also not be significant. So why don't you make your sister as your co-applicant? Yeah. So then the person understood that here he is going to save 30% on his interest every year. Yeah. So why don't he go ahead with his sister as the co-applicant? So that's what we meant by saying that choose your co-applicant wisely. So the person who in your family who is paying more income tax, better you make him as your co-applicant, because then your savings are going to be much more. Yeah. Now, second thing is, yeah, people ask how to claim it. So that's the subject of this slide as well. So for salaried employees, they have to provide the proof in the form of bank statement, loan sanction letter, okay, and the EMI schedule, yeah, to your employer before your TDS is deducted. So every financial year starting, every company asks their employees for the proofs, or maybe towards the end of it, let's say December of every year, companies ask employees for proof of, let's say, HRA, medical bills, and all, so that their taxes can be reduced. Yeah, so every employee provides some bills, transportation bill, conveyance, and all the other bills. So that is the point of time when you have to tell your employer that you had also been paying income tax, let's say for your son or for your daughter or for yourself. Yeah, you're claiming you're paying back your education loan, let's say. So then you have to tell it to your employer, and they will specify it in the form 16 when they will file it on your behalf. Yeah. So that is for salaried employees. You have to tell your employer. For self-employed people, most of you, I think, would be filing your income tax returns on your own. So under the income tax returns, there will be a section on exemption. So you have to specify under ATE that this is the amount of loan you are paying, and last year you have paid, let's say, 10 lakhs of interest, 10 lakhs of principal plus 2 lakhs of interest on that. Yeah. So then on that 2 lakhs, the exemption will work on. Yeah. I hope that's clear. Now, how much can you claim? So that's also very important. So I have put the recent screenshot. So this is for financial year 18-19. It's as per the recent budget which came out, I think, a month or 2 months ago. Yeah. So now this is a thing. So general category, so up to 2.5 lakhs, there is no tax. If your income is between 2.5 to 5 lakhs, there is 5% tax. If your income is between 5 lakh to 10 lakhs, it's 20% tax, and above 10 lakhs, it's 30% tax. Yeah. So if you're co-applicant, obviously you won't be in this bracket, senior citizen or super senior citizens. But if your co-applicant is in that bracket, then the exemption might be lower in terms of, let's say, they don't have to pay any tax up to 3 lakhs. But when it comes to 5 to 10 lakhs and above 10 lakhs, it's almost same. Yeah. So these are the brackets. So this is how your exemption will work. I'll share an example with you also in a while. Yeah. So these are the brackets. So I hope by now you are clear on how to let's say, claim your exemption. Now I don't have a whiteboard facility, but I would like to, write on my slide, because obviously my screen is shared with you, and I can write on my slide and you will be able to see what I'm doing. So let me just duplicate my slide and show you an example. So let's say, so I don't have whiteboard facility, so I'm just going to write here. So let's say if your loan, if you take a 20 lakhs loan, yeah, out of which in first year you use in first year you use 10 lakhs. Yeah. So when I say first year, I mean first month. Yeah. You take 10 lakhs. So your first year's interest is 10%. 10% I'm taking. So let me just do it in the other way. Sorry. Loan 20 lakhs. Yeah. Interest. I'm just taking an example figure, guys. So let's say interest is 10%. Yeah. Co-applicant income tax bracket 30%. Let's say, or let's say 30%. Let me count. Yeah. So okay. So you take a loan of, let's say, 10 lakhs in year one. So year one you take 10 lakhs from the bank. Year two, you take another 10 lakhs from the bank. Yeah. So now your first year's interest is, I hope you guys are following it. You're getting it. So your first year's interest at 10% is 1 lakh. Yeah. Your second year's interest on this thing is, uh, because it became 10, you took new 10. Yeah. Plus previous 10. Yeah. Plus previous year's 10 lakhs. Yeah. So first year's 10 lakhs. Yeah. So you have year one's 10 lakhs. So in second year, your total interest as at per 10% will be this much. Yeah. Let's say 6 months moratorium. Yeah. I hope this exercise is useful because I don't have whiteboard, so I'm just writing for you, just to explain you. 6 months moratorium. So by now your total loan is 20 lakhs. So your interest for 6 months on 20 lakhs will be 1 lakh. Yeah, I hope you got it because it's 6 months only and it is 10%. So your after 2.5 years, your repayable. Your repayable is 20 lakhs principal. See, I'm showing you here simple interest. Okay. So, sorry. I think it's PLE. Sorry. Apologize me for my English. Yeah. So 20 lakhs principal plus 1 plus 1 plus 2, 4 lakhs interest. Yeah. Now let's say after 2.5 years, you are planning to repay your complete 24 lakhs. Okay. Yeah. So let's say in the year after this, in within 1 year, you are repaying complete. You are repaying complete 14 lakhs. Ah, typos. Repaying 24 lakhs. Okay. Now on this 24 lakhs, 4 lakhs was your interest. Yeah. So as I mentioned, the section 80E is only on the interest component. Yeah. So your interest component is eligible for 80E. Yeah. Now your co-applicant is in 30% income tax bracket. Okay. So when he is on 30% income tax bracket, you will be able to get 30%, sorry, 30% of 4 lakhs as exemption. Yeah. So for 30% of 4 lakhs you will get as exemption, which is let's say approximately 1.25, right? 1.25, 1. No, 1.43. Yeah, 35, whatever. Yeah. So 1.3 lakhs is saving. So which means on your 20 lakhs, you actually paid only 2.65 lakhs interest. So if you see the percentage of it, okay, you're actually paying only 7% interest. Yeah. So this is the highlight here. You got the point? So when you get exemption, you can, the deductions which you get reduces your, so if it is 30%, so okay, so now the thumb rule, now you don't have to go through this whole calculation. Let me tell you what the thumb rule is. So thumb rule is if you're in 30% bracket, you can deduct your actual interest will be 0.70% of mentioned interest. Okay. So I mentioned that 10% is actual interest. Okay. So 10%, 70% of 10% is 70% of 10% is 7%. Yeah. That's what you got. So now if I would have been on 20% bracket, then it would be, I would be actually paying 80% of 10% will be my actual interest. You got the point? Because 20% is exemption. So that will be, effective will be 8% in that case. If I am in 10% income tax bracket, yeah, then my actual interest will be, interest is 90% of my mentioned interest. Yeah, my mentioned interest. So I hope you guys got the calculation. So 90% of 10% is 9%. Yeah. So I hope it is clear. Yeah. I hope you guys got that how do you actually do the maths of finding out how much will be your actual interest. Yeah. So I can take it up in my presentation for further slides. Yeah, in the question section. Sorry. Yeah. So let me just wind it up. So now I have explained you section 80E. I have explained you who can claim the exemption. I have explained you what are the tax brackets, and I have explained you the maths of how much you can claim. Yeah, I hope you got the point. If not, ask questions. Yeah. So let me just wind up my slides by saying what are the benefits of applying through VMake Scholars. So by now, those who are regular, like followers of our page or of our website, would know that we are a platform which helps students with scholarships and education loans. Yeah. So we started as a scholarship platform. At the same time, government launched their scholarships.gov.in. That was the reason why Government of India funded us. So you can see at the bottom of my slide that We Make Scholars is funded by Ministry of Electronics and IT, Government of India, under the Digital India campaign. Yeah. So that was the reason why we were funded by government. So later we moved on to providing awareness of government bank schemes. So that was also what government suggested us, that after scholarships, because only 3 to 5% of students go are eventually able to get scholarships. So rest of them, the majority portion of them relies on education loans. So why don't we create awareness about government bank schemes? So so that was the reason why we started working on it, because the response at branches when student walks into a government bank was very poor, and most of the time they didn't even know what exactly their scheme has to offer. So branch managers were unaware. So and students were also not knowing what exactly how much amount government banks can give, and what are the benefits of taking from government banks. Yeah. So and that's what when from scholarships we went on to that. So then eventually we became a platform for processing students applications online, because the processing time, when we started working with government banks, we realized that the processing time on an average was 60 days or more. It was never less than 60 days. It was, or I would say rarely less than 60 days, which is 2 months. So, and we realized most of the students didn't had that much time. That was the reason why government banks were not able to do a good job in the overseas education loan segment. So we worked with them to reduce the processing time to 15 to 20 days average. So that is that was our job, primary job right now. That was our primary job, and it is one of the key job right now as well. And we make the whole process simpler for students by making it online. So the branch level interaction, so how many times you have to go to the branch, and how many things you have to ask them, and how they behave with you, so that was all reduced by at least 1/3. Yeah. So most of your application is done online as of now for most of the banks through VMake Scholars. The documents list and everything is provided to you online. You do it right, sitting in your convenience, sitting in your comfort zone at your home, and you get emails with all of this information. And after you have collected the documents, you'll have to make your first visit to the branch. And but yeah, so still it's very few visits which you'll have to do, even if you're taking loan from a government bank via VMake Scholars. If it is a private bank, then there is no visit at all. Yeah. And our students can apply to multiple banks with one application, because we work with 14 banks as of now. So we can help you like filing application to any of those banks and share the document list of all those banks right from your right with one application. Yeah. And we have better sanction rates because we understand the sanction criteria of banks. So we don't waste your time. We tell you on day one if you are eligible or if you're not eligible. If you're eligible, then only we take your application ahead. That's why we have a very good sanction rate. Whereas directly, if you go to bank, you roam around them for like a month or so, and eventually you'll come to know that you're not eligible, because bank sanction rate on an average is only 10%. Out of 100 applications, only 10 get sanctioned. But remaining 90 also keep roaming around the bank, because bank doesn't tell them on day one that you're not eligible. Yeah, but we do that. Yeah. So customer support we provide for from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. every day, including Sundays. So yeah, so that's another thing which you won't get from bank. And we negotiate on your behalf with lenders if you're going for a private bank. Because in government banks, the interest rates are usually not negotiable. Just that you should be transparently knowing what benefits or what incentives you are eligible for. Because in government bank, they may say the rate of interest 10.5, but then there will be a lot of incentives which may bring down your rate of interest to, let's say, 9% or so. Yeah, but it's not bargainable in government bank, but in private banks it is. So that's what we do for you as well. Yeah, and in government banks, we are directly in touch with head offices of the banks, and we help them in policy making. So usually, when any country has any specific requirement, let's say my last session was on that, some universities in US were asking for solvency letter, but banks were not aware of it. So we proposed that thing to SBI, and SBI about 4 months ago released that thing, and now we are able to provide solvency letter to students for the US. Yeah, and then let's say for Australia, there was pre-disbursement required before visa, otherwise the visa won't be granted. Even that we proposed it to the head office. So we keep policy making. So if your university requires anything specific which nobody is in the market knowing, you can apply via VMake Scholars and we'll get that term sorted for you. Yeah. So, and we educate the branch managers also on loan scheme. So don't worry, even if you're applying offline, you can let us know. We can educate your branch manager. Yeah, and another thing is up to 80% of your processing fee for public banks like SBI is refunded if you apply via VMake Scholars. Yeah, and there's a few of the testimonials. These are actually my footer slides, which are there in my every presentation. So I know by now you would know what are these testimonials. So just you can go to this Quora link and read these testimonials in details. I won't go through it in detail because I'm getting late. I need to take all your questions as well. So yeah. So yeah, these are few of the testimonials from students whom we have helped, and they went to bank or directly sometimes, or sometimes they applied via VMake Scholars and they realized that it is very different than going to a bank directly. Yeah. And yeah, so we as an organization has been endorsed by ex-Prime Minister of New Zealand, Helen Clark, who mentioned that we are doing considerable work in the field of in scholarships globally. And Dr. Shashi Tharoor tweeted about us when he inaugurated the portal. And yeah, that's it. And we are two founders and incubated by BITS Pilani. Our organization is incubated by BITS Pilani, and we both had been scholarship winners. That was our motivation to come back and start helping people on scholarships. And later we moved on to education loans as well. Yeah, so that's it. Thank you very much. And this is the link to vmakescholars.com. So if you want to apply via VMake Scholars or claim these exemptions or need to know anything more, you can go to our website and go to education loans and request a call back. Yeah, there is a helpline number as well. So you can directly call on that number as well. Yeah, sure. So that's it. And one final thing before I take questions, I need to show you is, yeah, I'm sharing my screen. So let me just show you this thing. So, because many of you might be wondering that what will be your interest component. So there is this very interesting website called emicalculator.net. Okay. So you can put your loan amount here. So let's say in this case, I won't, so the example I gave you, in that your loan was 20 lakhs. But after your, because see, this website was made mainly for home loan, car loan and personal loan. But in case of education loan, that's the only loan where you get a moratorium period. So the amount which you have to write here in place of home loan amount is the amount which is after moratorium period. So 20 lakhs loan, I showed you after moratorium period, it became 24 lakhs. Yeah. So I would put 24 lakhs here. And let's say that 10% is the interest rate, which I assumed. Yeah. And let's say you are taking what, 20 years. Let me just make it 10 years to repay. Yeah. So see, this is your, so when you are repaying in 10 years, right? What I told you was if you immediately pay within a year, yeah, your interest component was 4 lakhs. But see, when you take 10 years to repay a loan, every year there is some interest which is accumulating. Yeah. So your total interest component in 10 years, or let's say 8 years, yeah, because your exemption works only for up to 8 years, your total interest will be approximately 10 lakhs. Yeah. Let me show you how this works also. So every year, so let's say in 2018, if you start repaying and your EMI is 36,000 per month, you're paying your 20 lakhs, 24 lakhs loan, which is after moratorium period. So in the first year, you're paying 1 lakh 70,000 principal back and 1 lakh 90,000 interest back. Yeah. So, so you can claim exemption on this particular amount after year one. You got the point? So second year you are paying this much principal, but your interest is now little lesser than principal. Yeah, so you can claim exemption on this whole amount. Yeah, so 30% of that, this whole amount will be exempted back to you. That's what I told you. Your interest rate will be reduced by one third or so, or 30% or 20% or 10% as per income tax bracket. So this website can show you how much interest component you are paying every year. Yeah. So you can use this website. I'm not endorsing it, but I found it as an interesting website. So maybe, and till now I didn't find anything fishy or anything wrong here. So maybe you can use this website for this thing. Okay. So I hope you got it. So thank you very much. Let me just stop my screen share and start taking questions. So yeah. So my screen is not shared anymore. So let me just go to YouTube, and so I hope you all are posting questions by now. Okay, so a lot of questions on site. So let me just go ahead and take it one by one. But before that, let me just drink a sip of water. Okay, so first question, Chandan Singh. Doesn't the bank provide the complete loan amount as a whole in year one, and then we use the amount as per our convenience? Chandan, bank can do that, but I don't think you would want that, right? Because if you, okay, so nationalized bank cannot do that, okay, because if it is a 2 year education and the fee payment schedule is divided as per year wise, then only the bank can maximum like disburse you half of your loan, yeah, in year one. If it is semester wise, then one fourth of your loan in first semester, one fourth in second. So there are some kind of limitations which can be, we can modulate the bank on that front. So let's say there were some students from our who applied via us, whose first year fee was almost double of their second year fee. So in that case, we told the bank that 70% of your loan has to be disbursed in year one, and remaining 30% in year two, because that's how the tuition fee structure looks like, and we provided them some proofs for that, and then they were ready to do it. But usually, a nationalized bank tend to divide it in the as per the duration, and NBFC can give you a whole loan in one go. So if they sanction you 30 lakhs loan, they can give you whole 30 lakhs loan in on day one. But I don't think you would want to do it, because as soon as you take the amount, your interest starts charging on that. So a smart student, what they do is they don't even take single penny until their fee deadline. So let's say if your last payment of your last date for your fee payment is, let's say, 20th March. Yeah. So people take their loan disbursement only, let's say, 5th March or 10th March, around that, because obviously you don't want to be right at the last minute. But not like, okay, let's say if the course starts in Jan, but the fee payment deadline is 20th March, then you would not want to take the disbursement in the month of Jan, because you'll be paying additional interest for 2 months, right? So that's the thing. So you should not take one thing, whole amount in one go. You should take as per your schedule, as less as you can in one go. And second thing is, you should always take like when you need it, not like take it and keep it in your account. That's not going to generate any benefit for you. Yeah. So, Amber Dubey asked, I came late to this webinar. Who all can take Section 80 benefit? Amber, anyone, your applicant or your co-applicant, whoever is paying your loan back can claim the exemption. And salaried employee can do it, self-employed also can do it. Yeah. And the exemption, how much it would be, it will depend on your tax. Whoever is going to claim the benefit, it will depend on their tax bracket. So if it is, let's say, you going to be there and your salary is, let's say, 5 lakhs per annum, and then you can do it. And if, let's say, your co-applicant salary is 10 lakhs per annum, let your co-applicant claim the exemption, because the benefit, the savings will be more in that case. Yeah. So anyone can do it. If you have any some specific question regarding it, go ahead and put it there. Okay, Chandan Singh asked again. Also, could you please explain which option is more fitting? Take the whole amount in year one or take the half amount in year one and half in year two? Chandan, I already explained it. So when you take the whole amount, your interest starts incurring from that point of time. So you better take it as and when you require, not like the whole amount in one go. Yeah. Divesh Chitroda asks, does it require the applicant to be employed in India if he is repaying the loan, or for the Section 80 to be applicable? So Divesh, that's usually the catch, because see, you won't mostly be in India, because once you're going for study abroad, you would prefer to work there some time. So what most of the students do is they, and let's say after 2 years, you want to repay your loan. So what do you exactly do? Because anyway, you're not going to get any benefit if, let's say, you're working in the US. You're not going to get any benefit of this thing directly on your income. So what people do is they transfer their EMI to their parents' account. Let's say your father is your co-applicant. You transfer money to your father's account, and then your father pay the EMI from his account, and then he eventually shows it to his employer, or if he's self-employed, he shows it as a loan paid by him, so that he can claim the exemption. You got the point? So because that's the best part of the scheme, is that anyone can claim it, whoever is paying the loan. Yeah. So then you can, even if you're working abroad, you can still make use of this thing through your parents and all. Yeah. Chandan Singh, of the today's topic question, how much currency fluctuation affect while repaying the loan amount? Chandan, as it is a little bit off topic, let me just share the URL with you. So team, please share with Chandan the URL of interest rate parity article, so that he can go through the currency fluctuation and all. Yeah. Sri Harsha asks, without collateral, what is the limit for SBI 4 or 7.5 lakhs? So without collateral, you ideally get 4 lakhs, but if you have a guarantor who had been banking with SBI for a while, or if you have a co-applicant who is a government employee, then you can get up to 7.5 lakh without collateral. Yeah. Sri Harsha asks, who all can be co-applicants? Can friends be co-applicants as well? Um, Co-applicant ideally has to be parents, okay? But if your parents have no income at all, like it's zero income, then you can bring in third-party co-applicants. Yeah, but not all banks accept it. SBI does accept it. That also, I don't know if you directly walk into the branch, will they accept it or not. But if you apply via VMake Scholars, SBI has to accept it. Okay, so they will accept your third-party co-applicants as well. And other than that, yeah, and third-party co-applicants are acceptable. Friends also can be there. Yeah. Okay, so Devesh says thanks. Thanks, Devesh. Um, okay, any more questions, guys? Please keep writing your questions, because I'll be taking all the questions. I know this topic is, a little bit tough on the, what I would say, tough, a little bit hard to understand. But if you go through the slides once again, and then if you have any questions, you can put it there, and I'll be happy to answer it. So Suresh asked, how long does it take for SBI loan to get sanctioned? So Suresh, it's a very generic question you asked. So if you walk in directly to the branch, it may take up to 2 months also. 3 months also in some cases. There had been, when we were going through SBI data when we started working with them, there had been cases which were documents were submitted almost 6 months before, like that day's date, but the loan was still not approved. Yeah, so it can even go that long. But yeah, if you apply via VMix Scholars, we make sure that it is completed, it is sanctioned within the time frame of 15 to 20 days. Yeah. Rahul asks, after the moratorium period, if we start repaying the loan, whether interest will be on the 20 lakhs, as mentioned in the example, or the remaining amount. Uh, okay, so see, okay, so as I showed in the example, so if you borrow 20 lakhs, okay, you are taking 20 lakhs right from the bank, and then on that you are being charged a simple interest during your moratorium period. Yeah. So after your moratorium period, when you start repaying, you actually start repaying on your principal plus your simple interest. So that's the time when both are added. Your principal of 20 lakhs plus your in simple interest of moratorium period 4 lakhs was added. It became 24 lakhs, and the EMI is structured on 24 lakhs. That's why when I showed you this EMI calculator website also, I took the amount as 24 lakhs so that you have clear idea of how your EMI schedule is going to be, and what is the interest component every year you are repaying. Yeah. So Chandan says thanks. So thanks, Chandan. If you have any further questions, go ahead. But I will try to answer your other question, which was a little off the topic, if I find time. Else, I'll share the material with you. Yeah. So Sri Harsha asks, thanks a lot. How much negotiation can we expect? Any case if you can share. So Sri Harsha, I clearly mentioned that with nationalized banks we cannot negotiate. With private NBFCs we can negotiate. So with private NBFCs the negotiation had been up to almost 2.5% also in few cases. Yeah. So there had been students whose rate of interest we brought from like 13.5 to 11% also. Yeah. So it is possible, like 2.5% up to that much is also possible. But see, not every case you cannot tell us that okay, my interest quoted to me is on 12%. Can you bring it down by 2.5%? So not in every case it will be possible. In general, NBFCs cannot go below 11%. In very rare cases, they can go if the profile is extraordinary in terms of academics or an extraordinary financial co-applicant profile. Yeah. But usually NBFCs cannot go below, what do you say, 11%. Yeah. So go ahead, guys, put questions. I'll be happy to take all the, and I love maths. So any questions you ask me on income tax exemptions, I'm going to, calculate it for you and provide it to you quickly. Yeah. So Vikas says, thanks for the session. I have applied via VMix Scholars, not received any call back. Could you please help? Because see, if you applied yesterday, then you might get a call on Monday because it was Saturday, so we only work half days on Saturdays. And so people only who applied till 3 yesterday would have got a call back. If you applied after that, you would be getting a call back tomorrow. Yeah. So if you have applied before that, then let me check. Can you please comment if you applied before that? Because yeah. So Lavkesh Bansal mentions college asks us to show funds equivalent to I-20 amount. That means we have to take the complete loan amount on the first day, right? Or am I missing something? So Lavkesh, see, one thing you have to understand: showing the loan and actually taking the loan both are very different. Okay. So you show the loan as a proof of funds letter. You show the loan sanction letter as a proof of funds. Okay. For that, you don't have to actually take your whole, let's say, 30 lakhs from your loan and put it in your savings account. Yeah. That's not required. Yeah. So that's why universities, so now these days, actually, even I don't like that concept, but some universities have started telling that we don't accept loan sanction letter. You have to disburse the whole loan amount from your account and put it in your savings account, and then only we'll accept. So Syracuse has this case, and even there are a couple of other universities. So to be honest, I don't like that part because you will have to start repaying your interest on the whole amount in that case. Yeah. But I tell you, 98% of the universities do not ask for amount in savings account. They only ask for letter, and for letter you don't have to take the whole loan amount. You show the letter for the purpose of I-20, for the purpose of visa, and then you start using the loan as and when you require. Yeah, I hope I could answer your question, Lavkesh. If you have any further follow-up questions on this, please post it on the chat. Yeah. So because you applied yesterday, so fine, you will get a call back on Monday for sure. Okay. So any further questions, guys? Go ahead. Put your questions, please. I'll be happy to answer. And I hope this session was useful, because I feel this was a topic which on internet there was lesser material on it. And even if you are able to find what income tax exemption ATE it is difficult to understand the nitty-gritties of it. So I hope I could get into those reading between the lines and clarifying it for you. Yeah. So, Srimant asked, my father works in Qatar and I want my father to be co-applicant. How should I get exemption through income tax? So, Sriman, see, your father is NRI and you are also, let's say, not going to be in India. So, for you, the exemptions ideally won't work until unless, let's say, your mother is in India and you make her as an additional, because you can add multiple co-applicants as well. Yeah. So, you add your mother as additional co-applicant, and the EMIs are deducted through her account. So EMIs are paid by you or by your father, deposited in your mother's account, but